It's time to get all set for Sunday, a podcast for busy and distracted Catholics with your hosts, Scott Williams and Jeff Traylor.
When I hear the coffee brewing, I think, what the heck we doing? Because I got barely any sleep last night. As the diaper bag I pack with Hot Wheels dollies and some snacks, I say a prayer there'll be a seat in the crime room this time. It's alright, cause I'm all set for Sunday. It's alright, cause I'm all set for. It's alright, cause I'm all set for. It's alright, cause I'm all set for Sunday.
Welcome to All Set for Sunday, a podcast for busy and distracted Catholics to be a little more prepared for Sunday Mass. My name is Scott Williams. My co-host is Jeff Traylor. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Scott.
Hey. How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
I feel like I've stared at a computer screen all day, and now I'm not. So that's nice.
Same, but I just came off a nice little trip, little weekend trip.
Yeah?
Enjoyed myself. So
How was it?
it was wonderful.
Yeah. Where'd you go again? Wisconsin?
Yeah, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, for
Elkhart
the
Lake.
Road America IndyCar race. And it was an absolute delight.
Did you get to sit in any race cars?
I did not. I don't think I fit in race cars.
Have you ever tried?
They're very tiny. I did drive a race car one time, but that's been many years ago, and I've gotten bigger. So, but I look at all these drivers, and I think, well, there's no way I can do the thing that they do. So,
Athletes.
yeah, they're pretty impressive. Tiny little athletes, but they're athletes nonetheless.
Yes. Father, how are you?
I'm wonderful, guys. It's good to be back with you. Good to be in studio.
Look at
with
this.
In
you.
studio,
Isn't this
Father
fun?
Patrick Hyde in studio.
In
This is
studio.
wonderful.
Oh, my goodness.
The maiden voyage I made here was to celebrate Mass here in the studio with you all after you, or in the offices after you all had moved in and gotten settled. So that was many years ago. Many moons have passed since.
Yes.
Yeah.
We all fit in that same room,
Yeah.
and things are a little different now.
Yeah.
Was that the last time you were here?
No, not
Okay.
the last time I was here, but that was like the last time like we all like sat around and chatted. I've been here before, like just.
But you've
passing
never
through.
been in the studio before.
I've never
to
been
actually
in
record
the,
a pod.
soon to be blessed Fulton J. Sheen Memorial Studio.
Yeah.
That's true.
I think there's going to be a few of those that exist
I
out
hope
there.
so. I hope many. Of them.
Yeah. No, it's delightful to have you here.
It's good to be here.
Always enjoyable.
Yeah.
You, how you feeling? You seem like you've lost some weight.
I
You
have.
seem like
I'm
you're
feeling great. Life is
yeah,
good.
like a whole renewed man. You're
I don't know about renewed man, but
I don't know. Your beard looks
40 has
kept.
really,
Yeah.
40 has really been a wonderful decade thus far. I mean, all 9 months of it, 10 months of it.
Yeah.
So I feel like my 40s are going to be even better than my 30s. So
That's great.
that's what I'm going for.
Good.
Yeah.
Do you
had
have
a
one of
pretty
those fitness tracking watches?
I don't have. I am back on the analog watch. It is a. That was a big move for me. I had for years had one of those Fitbit things, and every 10 minutes or however people text me, it would buzz me. It has been so freeing to get text messages and get back to them like 10, 15, 20 hours later.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. It's been nice. It's been nice.
That's great.
It's actually my normal rhythm for responding to
I was going to
text
say, I don't
messages.
know that it's slowed down. It has changed at all
But
how we
because
communicate.
I get the announcement. It's just from Jeff. I'll text him.
Maybe.
Leave it
Yeah.
unread.
I remember when Pope Leo was elected, nobody really knew a whole lot about him, so that people were like trying to dissect every information that they could have. But I remember one time they like zoomed in on his watch that they saw him. They're like, "Oh, he's such a simple man with this digital
Casio or something.
yeah. But it
Or
just like,
Swatch.
but that was just his conclave watch.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
he
yeah.
he has an Apple Watch.
Yeah.
There's
Yes.
other
Where else
photos
is
of
he going to play
service.
Wordle?
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, ready
Can
for
you
the
play
two.
games on an Apple Watch?
You probably could. I don't know. I don't, but I was just making that up. But.
Okay. All right.
Well, we're gonna find out. We'll put it in the show notes.
Here we go.
All right, Jeff.
The show notes are back, people. They're back. 14th Sunday in Ordinary Time. We are looking at our first reading from Zechariah chapter 9. So Zechariah foretells a king unlike any other. He'll be humble, riding a donkey, bringing us peace instead of war. And the Christians recognize this prophecy in Jesus.
Oh, a donkey?
Huh?
A donkey?
Well, trying to be safe for work. But he'll be riding on an ass.
Thank you.
On a colt, the
I'd
foal
appreciate
of an
your
ass.
discretion.
Thank you. That's the name of the pod. So the Christians recognize the prophecy in Jesus, whose kingdom is built not on force, but on love and service.
Well, there we go.
Responsorial Psalm this week is, I will praise your name forever, my King and my God. I think it's a banger. The forever got me, but I will praise your name, my King and my God. That rings true in my head.
I agree.
That banger hits. Or
Hallelujah. of course,
Hallelujah.
I guess.
You're right.
Why?
I don't know.
Always an option.
Not always.
I think during on Sundays, yeah. think so.
I don't think so.
Is it not? Okay.
I don't
Maybe
think
that's just
so.
during Easter.
Yeah,
But
this
it's not
not an
Easter.
option this month
I guess
or this
not,
one.
yeah.
I'm confused.
All right,
Not an option
let's
this
do it
one.
all. Let's do it all.
We need
Great.
to contact a liturgist.
If only we knew one. The second reading comes from Romans chapter 8. So St. Paul reminds us that if the Spirit of Christ lives in us, we belong to Christ, and that the same Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead gives us strength to turn away from sin and live a new life. That the Christian life is less about self-reliance and more about letting the Spirit lead the way, the Holy Spirit lead the way. And then we have our gospel reading. Our gospel, Matthew chapter 11, 25 to 30. At the time Jesus exclaimed, I give praise to you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, and for although you have hidden these things from the wise and the learned, you have revealed them to the little ones. Yes, Father, such has been your gracious will. All things have been handed over to me by my Father. No one knows the Son except the Father, and no one knows the Father except the Son, and anyone to whom the Son wishes to reveal him. Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and humble of heart, and you will find the rest for yourselves. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light.
The old Timex.
Old analog Hyde over here.
I don't know what you're talking about. Father Patrick Hyde, any corrections to the minutes? Did Jeff get anything wrong?
Well, he didn't get anything wrong, but I appreciated him.
Except for
using
that
the word
donkey part.
I was appreciative of that.
Yeah.
There could be children listening, so we don't want to give them.
I mean,
There could be. You never know.
it's summer, but I feel like on your campus when in session, you get some real looks around the church when the reader gets up there and let's go with the word ask twice.
I mean, they're all going to hear it on Sunday, so I think
true.
it's good that we
That's
talk
true.
about it now and let them know
Okay,
that this
that's
is a
fair. Yeah, that's
donkey
Yeah, earmuffs
fair.
in the
Yeah.
car
Okay, there
for
we
your
go.
kids.
Yeah.
or explanation.
That was a little late.
Or
Sorry.
explanation. There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
No, it was good.
You said we were going to learn something, teach, and what did you say? Think, teach.
No, it was you want to make
Hear.
them laugh, think, and cry. Those
Yeah.
are the signs of a really good speech.
Isn't that Jimmy Valvano?
I don't know.
I think so.
Whatever the source of it is,
Yeah.
I think it's great. Yeah, make them laugh, make them think, make them cry.
Well, what do you preach on this weekend?
Well,
And
you
where
know, St. Paul Catholic Center, Bloomington, Indiana.
Do you ever go to Nashville?
I was just there, but I don't. I'm even though I am the sacramental minister there of the 4 Dominican friars of St. Paul Catholic Center who are responsible for helping out in Nashville. I'm the one who goes the least, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that right now we have 2 major construction projects going on at St. Paul's, and so it's
I mean,
just,
major seems like a stretch.
it is. I mean,
It is a stretch.
yes, it's a stretch. Yes, I mean the largest renovation project in the history of the parish, and another project on top of that in the rectory. But whatevs.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen major construction projects. Just
It's all relative at the end of the day.
it is.
I like the pictures that you drew up for it.
Yes.
So it's coming to life, huh?
Yeah, it's coming to life. So first phase this summer in the church, and then the next phase next summer to do it all, to complete it all.
Back to the preaching part.
Back to
Sorry.
the preaching.
The preachy part.
One of just kind of the thing that jumps out for me, thank you, is when we hear from Jesus, he says, "I am meek and humble of heart." And oftentimes, when we think of meekness, and we think of this also in the Beatitudes, we think of meekness as kind of this coy, kind of demurring, kind of almost pathetic character of someone who isn't strong. But when we actually look at the virtue of meekness, when St. Thomas Aquinas talks about it, it's the virtue that regulates anger and actually orders it in the right way. And so when Jesus says, "I am meek and humble of heart," this is actually the sign of great and perfect masculinity, right? In that he's ordering his passions, the depths of his passions, those that come up from the heart, toward doing the will of the Father, right? And this is, we hear this, "Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and humble of heart," right? That is what he's showing us as he's inviting us into, is not this kind of, "Oh, golly gee shucks, woe is me," kind of, "I'm just going to sit in the corner and be a good, quiet, faithful Catholic," but actually a Catholic who experiences, and a person who experiences what the world throws at us, but then orders them in the right way. It actually, finding freedom from constraint is actually the real virtuous path of acknowledging and going through the feelings that we have, but then ordering them in a way that serve others and bring about their fulfillment and help them to find rest. So often in life, I think one of the most exhausting parts of life is dealing with not only our own disordered and regulated passions, but those who don't have any regulation to their passions. It's exhausting work when we have to deal with people who are constantly blown about by the fans. You know, I think we can, like, we deal with this all the time just in our regular lives, right? Of people who, you know, you're in line for something and someone just explodes at the barista at a Starbucks. I don't go to Starbucks, but if I were, I imagine people yell at them all the time, right? Or people who have road rage, or just in general, you go online and social media and you see, you know, someone puts up there, I had a great day today, and someone puts on there, you're a terrible person, or it's like, what is going on? Like, you know, there's this lack. And I think the veil of anonymity and the distance of social media communication and digital communication allows us to even let our passions run more amok. And you see this too also with pornography and other vices, you know, people binge watching Netflix all night long, is that when we don't constrain and rightly order our passions, as strong as they may be, they control us. But the meek and the humble of heart recognizes all of these things and brings what Jesus himself brings into our most difficult moments: peace. He brings rest. He brings meaning. He makes it possible for us to know, get there, not by being exemplary or the greatest of human beings, but by accepting our weakness and our need to be ordered, right? He doesn't say, you know, I need only the smart, only the well-educated, only the elite, physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever. He says to us, I revealed them to that you have revealed these to the little ones. It's actually in being little, in accepting our weaknesses, in acknowledging that we are human beings, and then taking them and ordering them to Jesus and to the teachings of the church, that we really find freedom and happiness. And in the second reading from St. Paul, you are not in the flesh, on the contrary, you're in the spirit. And I think one of the most fleshly emotions that we feel is anger, and when we give into that again and again and again, we live in the flesh and not in the spirit. But when we take that to the Lord and we learn from our mistakes and we try to rightly order our passions, we become less in the flesh and more in the spirit, and actually become more human. We feel those things, but we're able, through virtue and through the growth of grace, to respond in a more heavenly and a more spiritual way, guided by the promptings and the indwelling of the Holy Spirit.
Well, you're smart.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's the promptings and the indwelling. I think that's where I was going. But
I was still thinking about race cars. You know?
that's actually what I'm thinking about over here, too. But
actually, I wasn't thinking about race cars. The only time I ever talk about race cars is when I'm with Jeff.
I like race cars.
He likes race cars.
Vroom, vroom.
And the Indianapolis 500 race.
Yes, it's true.
Okay, so we started with meek and humble of heart.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to exercise this virtue better, say I'm the guy at the stop sign, which I also don't get, like how could you be so mad about waiting another 2 seconds to go through? Yeah, but let's say I'm that guy. What kind of like practical tips do you give for people to be more like Thomas Aquinas and practicing these virtues?
Well, one of the things that we actually need to give ourselves permission to do is that, like, actually feel big feelings and not be afraid of them. I think one of the things that we have grown unaccustomed to or afraid of in our world is like boredom and not knowing what to do with ourselves or the moment or things like that. We have to fill everything with something to do, with a purpose, with an outcome, with something that entertains us or brings us delight. And therefore, when we don't have that, when we don't have control, those unresolved tensions and issues in our life just bubble forth, like, immediately. And so actually learning how to be comfortable with being uncomfortable or bored or feeling a big emotion, right? Like, and having an unresolved emotion. Like, I know some of the things, you know, that can be super helpful just in general well-being, not just spiritual well-being, is like acknowledging and naming your feelings and what you're going through, and giving yourself permission to let that be unresolved. Because oftentimes what we want is like, oh, I've had this difficult conversation, I need to resolve this. Well, sometimes that can take a long period to be resolved, or like decades, right? Because hurts can run deep. And so allowing ourselves to just acknowledge that there's more to it than can be easily solved. In the same way, you know, that a major surgery requires a long period of healing, and it's healing from the inside out. And though you might look at someone who's had a major surgery, bypass surgery, and they look fine, there's still massive healing that's going on. It's going to take them a while to get back. So too, giving us ourselves permission. But I think also just acknowledging, okay, well, if I struggle with anger, right, what's the countervailing virtue, right? So I think like humility, right? Like Humility is just honesty about ourselves. Humility is a recognition that there are limits to what I know, to what I can do. And so how do we exercise that? Well, we put ourselves in positions where we're going to be uncomfortable, where we're going to be perhaps humiliated, right?
So it's good to feel the feelings, but not express the anger and frustration with
to
how
channel them in
those
the right way.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, hey, I know that I struggle with being, angry at, someone or something. Well, I got to put myself in positions where I'm not going to, maybe it's that one person who drives me crazy. I'm not saying go sit with that person forever, but like put yourself in a position where, this really kind of irritates me a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then, but have a plan going in there. It's like, okay, I know if I'm going to go to this restaurant or call that person, that it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a little irksome. Okay, great. Now, what's my plan for when I'm a bit irked? When I'm a bit, how am I going to, preempt that or get it? It's like, so if hey, someone at work really gets on your nerves, what can you do to positively position yourself in that conversation? Or if you know that someone that you work with and you gossip about another person, what can you do before you even start that conversation to cut them off in that moment so that the deeper temptation doesn't come, so that you can reorient, but then also to try to learn in a sense, kind of exposure therapy. You just kind of expose yourself to a little bit more trouble, a little bit more difficult things. Like if we want to grow in humility, and like Jesus is calling us to, the readings are calling us to, how do I get into that position where I know I'm going to be a little uncomfortable, where I know I'm going to have to ask for help?
You're telling we should just be rage baiting ourselves.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like in a controlled environment.
Yeah.
That's how we get better, right? And then we can actually get to a point, this is the goal of the virtuous life, where we start to see, and actually the book of Judith said this the other day in one of our, I think it was even yesterday in the first the reading from morning prayer, is like we can even get to a point where we start to thank God for the temptations, because we see in the temptations even the way, an invitation and an opportunity to grow. Like this is when we can start to see in ourselves an integration and a growth in virtue, is we start to see, man, like I don't look forward to the temptations, but I start to see how even those temptations are strengthening me over time. So it's like, oh yeah, like when someone offers you that, that thing that you're trying to go on a diet, or you're trying to give something up, or it's like initially it's so frustrating and it's so difficult. But as you grow in self-mastery in that particular area with that particular temptation or sin, you don't look forward to the temptation, but when it comes and when you overcome it, you're like, oh man, wow, thank you, Lord, because that's like honing the saw, right? That's sharpening the saw. It's helping me even get closer to you. And whereas before I had to stumble and fall and get back up through sin, now I'm cutting it off at the pass because of your grace, because of the virtue.
That's a good time.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
No, we were joking about thinking about race cars, but so I had a wonderful weekend this weekend. We were up for like 4 days. But the one moment that, like, it's really interesting that we're talking about this. The one moment for me was the way at the track, like the morning of the race, people pour in the gates or you're camping out on site. And so people get up early and they go stake their seat for the race later in the day. So set up tents, set up chairs, all that. So one of the guys I was with, he gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning, goes to the bleachers where we want to sit, tapes a tarp down onto the seats right where we're at. Lots of people are doing it. There's all kinds of seats. So we come back later in the day for the race, and we show up, and somebody has just ripped the tarp off and thrown it over the back of the bleachers. And there was a guy sitting there, and I was late getting up there. This is the kind of thing normally would just set me off pretty solid. But I was like last one up, and this guy had scooted over, and we were in there, and I was like, somebody just ripped this off, and they were, and the people we were with, like, yeah, they said somebody just took it off and did it over the back or whatever. So we were in there sitting there. So I end up like, the guy had said he didn't do it. So I just was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna make friends with this guy. He's here by himself at this race, whatever. So I chatted him, talked to him. We were talking during the race or whatever, and like, so we. By the time the race is over, the rest of the group that I'm with, they had heard from people around us. Like, I go into the restroom the same time this guy did. They had heard from people around us. This was the guy who like ripped the tarp off. He tore it off and did it. And then when we showed up, he just got real quiet and there was a part of me that was like, man, I wish I had known that. But then there was another part of me that was like, you know what? No, I think like my default nature of like, I'm just going to make friends with this guy. I don't want to talk to him. And I want to just like see how he's doing and talk about what he's doing here and, all this stuff. And he was kind of bummed because a friend was supposed to come and he just decided to come on his own or whatever. But it was one of those things where I was like grateful for the opportunity to like do that. And like in my brain, I'm like, I'll bet he felt awful about this. Like here I was just being this nice guy. If I had just shown up and been some sort of jerk, then well, like I just play right into, his hands or whatever. But no, we had a nice little time. And then right before the end of the race, he took off like 5 laps before it was over, just like beelined out of the bleachers and was done. And anyway.
Were there any signs that said, towels don't save chairs at the pool, humans do?
No. Maybe I should get one of those. I did think about like making very specific signs.
See, I thought you were going to go the total opposite of that, like things that drive you crazy or when people set up chairs to save seats places.
No, it's kind of like, it's just the common experience there.
Yeah.
No. Everyone who's sitting around us, same people who sat around us last year, they all got up, saved the same seats, got up there. Anyway.
I like it.
But this was a good reminder of it wasn't purposeful necessarily for me, but I could have probably like freaked out on everybody in the bleachers and asked who did it, and somebody would have said it was this guy, and I might have had some words, but I didn't. I decided I was just gonna be really nice.
This is what
guy.
growth and virtue looks like, Jeffrey.
Thank you.
And I think that St. Paul, last line of the second reading, for if you live according to the flesh, you will die, but if you live by the Spirit, if by the Spirit you put to death the deeds of the body, you will live. Right? Like, it is possible to exercise mastery over our passions and to grow and to become more attractive.
In all fairness, I don't think I mastered anything. I think the Holy Spirit made sure I did not know the key piece of information that would have set me off in the midst of it. But either way, I was glad
you were preserved.
Yeah, I was.
You were preserved. Did you know race car is spelled the same forwards
I
and
did know
backwards?
that.
Okay,
I did know that.
Classic. What, got any dumb questions?
Yeah, I was going to say the other one. It's more just I love sharing like travel mass experiences. I went to mass at the track this week.
Nice.
So IndyCar has a ministries group that travels with them, and there are like all of a sudden we were in the like I talked to some people I knew there and found out that there was mass in the medical center beforehand. They brought a priest in from Milwaukee. This priest's job, by the way, full time, he works for I don't know the exact words, so you're gonna have to help steer this. But he basically works for the Pope's Prayer Network. So like this is a thing where the Pope like sets up standardized prayers for every month, and he asks the world to pray his intentions. And like this priest in Milwaukee, his like full time gig, he travels around the country and. It's just he's part of the Pope's Prayer Network.
Like he just tells people what his
hands out
intentions are for the month.
Wow. I didn't know that such a job existed.
Yeah. It seems pretty cool.
I thought it was just an email.
And this month's intention from the Pope is about sports, ironically. So we were at the track and celebrating. You could hear race cars in the background, and we were celebrating mass. And there's guys like pit crew members and like safety patrol guys in there, like full fire suits and everything in there, just going to mass. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So
That does sound cool.
I do always like to know what it is, because like often we'll pray for the intentions of our Holy Father,
I got a little pamphlet. I'll find it.
but I rarely know what it is unless I look it up.
I know this guy.
I'm on the same boat. So
Father Fred must not be doing his job.
I think it says in that thing, doesn't it?
Did it say in the Magnificat? I don't know. We'd have to look at it.
Well, we'll look it up another. We'll put it in the show notes.
Show notes.
Show notes. All right. Dumb questions.
Those are my thoughts.
Okay.
I don't know that I have much more. You got any dumb questions?
You can just ask a question, and it might fall into that category.
I know.
What?
Thank you. You're so sweet to me. I'll tell you.
What's more difficult, being a construction project manager or a pastor of a parish?
Well, as the pastor of a parish, you get the joy of being both at the same time. I think one of the
You like wearing your Beretta or your hard hat? Which one?
I think one of the things that
That'd be a fun hard hat Beretta.
we tend to put things in competition, especially in like a parish. Like, okay, are we working on X, or are we a business or are we a church? And I think sometimes we by trying to do, like, ultimately we are in the business of saving souls, and in order to do that, we have to have a place to worship, and we need to form souls. So long as we're doing things that will help in that regard, then like the little challenges and difficulties of a construction project actually are beautiful and wonderful. But it's, I think when we get into doing things for the sake of our ego or for the sake of something other than the primary mission, I remember reading this in my own business school studies. It's like the word priority was used exclusively in the singular.
Where'd you go to business school?
I'm not going to say, but go Irish. The word priority didn't become a pluralized, it doesn't occur in plurals until the 1940s, right? And so like sometimes it's like, hey, if the one thing remains the one thing, then the form of that is going to be different.
Did you read the book Essentialism?
I've read many books, but like I think just in general,
Cool.
Many leather-bound books.
rich my
Smells of rich mahogany.
my cell smells of rich mahogany. That smells
All right, I do have a dumb question.
Yes.
albs.
Albs.
Priests
yes.
wear albs.
Yes, they do.
Sometimes priests will wear an alb that has a hood.
Yes.
Sometimes they will not. But that throws me off because you have a hood.
I do.
But like that makes sense to me.
Yeah, but my alb does not have a hood.
Your alb. Okay. So what is the indicator on? Like, is there?
So
Is
it's
there
my
any sort of thing that says yes, you should wear a hood, no, you should not, or is it just like get an alb that fits comfy?
Well, you'll have to ask your resident liturgist guest the next time he is on. But it is my understanding that until after the Second Vatican Council, that the priest was required to wear an alb and then an amice, which covers the monastic hood, but you can look kind of like a hood.
Yeah.
And that that was relaxed after the Second Vatican Council to say that the alb can be built or made in such a way that it covers your street clothes. So basically, when a priest celebrates Mass, you should not see his street clothes underneath. Because the alb is a representation of the baptismal garment.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's what you should see, the white garment of the common priesthood of the baptized. And so when a priest of a religious order, because we have hoods on our habits, will wear it, is to cover your street clothing, if you will.
Cover your hood.
It's to cover. So like basically the idea is that when a priest celebrates Mass, whether he's a Capuchin or Dominican or diocesan priest or any other
Doesn't matter, he's a
priest.
priest.
He's just, all you see there is a baptized Christian who has
Order of
been called a priest.
Melchizedek.
Exactly.
Yep.
So that's the whole idea behind that alb, amice, all of that is we all are the same when we celebrate Mass.
So, to your knowledge, though, just a diocesan priest wearing one just doesn't matter.
So then,
as long as they're covering their
they
street
started
clothes.
creating those for religious communities, and some people like the cut of the monastic cut
of the jib,
hood and the look and the aesthetics and all
Yeah.
of that. So,
right.
like, I'll tell you that one of the things that drive because we have a hood, and if you wear your habit underneath your alb and amice, is rolled collars on chasubles are a nightmare for us because it's like you can't. It's just like this ball that's just like pressed up against your head because it can't fall back over the back of your shoulders, and so I don't like it whenever I do like go somewhere and we have concelebrants vestments, chasubles, and there's a big rolled collar. No bueno.
Oh man, chasuble problems.
Chasuble problems. First world priest problems. Starched collars.
All right.
All right, that's all I got.
All right. Thanks, Father. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
God
I'm
bless
glad you were here. This is great.
It's alright, cause I'm all set for. It's alright, cause I'm all set for. It's alright, cause I'm all set for Sunday.